Betty is an 8-year-old student at Lake City Elementary School. She is in the third grade. Her parents are Ronald and Nancy Reagan. Betty was, background history says that she not only lives with her mom and dad, but she also has 2 older brothers. English is the primary language spoken in the home. Betty was reportedly delivered by C-section on October the 3rd, 2009, following an unremarkable pregnancy. Her developmental milestones occurred within the average limits. She reportedly had surgery for PE tube insertion. Her medical history is pretty much significant for infections as a toddler, and also was diagnosed with ADHD. Betty is also medicated for seizures. She takes oxacarbazine, which is 300 milligrams twice a day. That is to help her control her seizures. She also had equalization tube placement and a tonsillectomy. Betty was given a screening for hearing and vision back in October of 2016, and she passed both of those screenings. She is being served under she is being served for special education under the disability category of specific learning disability. She's being served for 550 minutes weekly for reading, language arts, and math. She gets 250 minutes each week for language arts and reading, and 250 minutes for math. All of her other academic instructions is being provided through the regular education setting. Betty also attended pediatric daycare prior to attending kindergarten. When she was retained in kindergarten, the reason that she was evaluated for special education services is because her teacher felt like that she was making little or no academic progress. Betty was referred by Mrs. Bryant, again, who is her kindergarten teacher. Mrs. Bryant indicated that Betty is easily distracted and lacks focus. Betty rarely completes any of her assignments, and she doesn't show any understanding of her assignments. Her weaknesses are in the following areas. She has a weakness in number sense and operations, problem solving, patterns and relationships, algebra, geometry, and measurement. As for her strengths and methods that have been used to improve Betty's performance, her teacher, Miss Bryant's, noted that she's had a tutor. She needs smaller group sessions or one-on-one sessions with a teacher or an interventionist. According to Mrs. Bryant, Betty, some of her strengths are she can count syllables in a word, she can spell, she can use basic capitalization and punctuation, she uses invented spelling, and if you give her a flashcard game, that helps to increase or motivate her to do better. Betty likes to read. She was given a diagnostic testing back on March the 14th of 2015. The first test that she was giving was the Rios-Reynolds Intellectual Assessment Scale. The Rios, what it does is it provides a valid measurement of verbal and nonverbal intelligence. It also provides a separate component to measure both verbal and nonverbal memory functions. It's given to students the age of 3 through 9 years old. Her scores were as follows. As on a percentile rank, she had a verbal intelligence score of 78. If you give it a percentile rank between 1 and 100, Betty made a 78, which is very well below average. She was also tested for nonverbal intelligence, where she, for nonverbal intelligence, she scored average. Then, as far as her composite intelligence score, she was scored at 89, which is also below average. Betty was giving the clinical evaluation of language fundamentals, which is the fourth edition. It is also known as the CLEF-4 test. This is an individually administered measurement that is designed to screen ages 5 through 21 years of age for language disorders and assist in identification of students in need of an in-depth assessment of language disabilities. It is interpreted based on the examinee's total score as compared with a criterion score according to his or her age. Based on the comparison, Betty failed the CLEF-4 screening. Below is a criterion that is based on a percentile rank of 1 through 100. For the core language, Betty scored a 64. For expressive language, she scored a 67. And for receptive language, she scored a 58. Betty was then given the Kaufman test of educational achievement, which is also the KT2. This is an educational tool for students for measuring such areas as math, reading, written language, and oral language. It's typically given to student ages 4 years and 6 months to 90 years. It is also given scored as a percentile rank. For letter and word recognition, her standard scores were 78, which is below average. She also was given a reading comprehension where she scored 75, which is below average. And then nonsense word decoding, she scored an 86, which is average. Betty's nonverbal intelligence score may be of more significance than overall composite score. When Betty's ability is compared to her achievement using the NICS, a significant discrepancy based on regression analysis exists in the following areas: letter and word recognition, reading comprehension, math concepts and applications, math computations, written expressions, and sight word efficiencies. Betty's data from the response to intervention process indicated that she did not make sufficient academic progress when provided with scientific research-based interventions in the following areas: reading, writing, and mathematics. Betty's curriculum-based results indicate numerous deficits in areas of reading, writing, and arithmetic. Betty's adaptive behavior revealed significant scores in the areas of attention problems, learning problems, atypical functional communication, and at-risk scores. In the areas of withdrawal, adaptability, social skills, leaderships, and study skills, her visual motor skills were in the below average range. Her auditory processing skills were also in the average range of functioning. She was tested by the speech pathologist, and the speech pathologist revealed that Betty does qualify for speech language services. Based on this information, Betty meets the eligibility criteria for the disability of specific learning disability in the areas of basic reading, writing, and arithmetic.